Well, welcome to the 15th edition of the European Race Walking Team Championships, coming to you from the Czech spa town of Podebrady. Well, you're joining us at the start of the women's 20-kilometre race walk, but already we've had some spectacular action earlier this morning in the men's and women's 35-kilometre event. The headline news: Maria Perez of Spain set a world record of 2:37.15. That slices 29 seconds off the existing world record from the double world champion Garcia Leon of Peru. Now we're just seeing the presentation of perhaps some of the leading walkers, including Ukraine's Ludmila Olyanosova. Olyanosova, bronze medalist in the 20k back in 2015, European silver medalist back in 2014 as well. Now 30 years of age, just missed out on the medals last summer. She finished fourth at the European Athletics Championships over this distance. Well, this woman, Antigone Trimsiupiotti, double gold medalist last year, fastest woman in this field at 1:28.12. Can she improve on that Greek national record that came earlier this year? And then a woman who took silver medals at the World Championships in Eugene last year, Katarzyna Zyzieblo of Poland. Olympic champion Antonella Palmisano, well, struggled last year with sciatic nerve problems. Is only really starting to recover from injury, but there you can see on that very nice caption the gold medalist from Tokyo 2020, which indeed was held in the summer of 2021. And the local hope, well, an excellent European Championships, finished 7th. Czech Republic's Eliska Martinkova, World Under-20 bronze medalist back in 2020, now plying her trade in the senior ranks. "43 women in this race, coming from 17 different countries. And of course there is a team competition as well. Spain won the team competitions in the men's and women's 35-kilometre walk earlier. Men's race was won by Alvaro Martin, double European 20-kilometre champion, now starting to move up distance on a more regular basis. The Spaniard won quite convincingly. It was a good morning for the Spanish, winning all 4 titles on offer in the 35-kilometre walk. Things might be a little bit different in this event though. In addition to the women we saw, we've also got Saskia Feige of Germany on the start line. Feige was a bronze medalist at the European Athletics Championships on home soil in Munich last August. Indeed, we have all 10 of the women who finished in the top 10 from Munich back here to contest this European Race Walking Team Championships. Podebrady, of course. If you were listening to me, Phil Minshall, earlier in this programme, you'll know that I was waxing lyrical on what a wonderful spa town it is. And it's really been one of the focal points for European race walking over the last 100 years or more. As the race gets underway, Palmisano will be going for a hat-trick of titles, having won in 2017 and at the last edition, which was held here in Podebrady in 2021. As I said, she's had injury problems during 2022, not quite back to full form, I don't think. Well, now outing so far this year, over 10 kilometres in the Spanish capital, Madrid. And a little bit underwhelming, but we'll have to wait and see how the race unfolds. Up there, one of two very good French women, Moutard and Beretta as well. Clemence Beretta, national record holder at 1:30.37, finished 6th in the European Championships last year. Camille Moutard, 10th. It could be the French, if they pack well, who could be in contention for the team title here. This stage, you can see the Ukraine trio as well there in the famous gold and blue vests. Also up there, Feige. So this round, a 1 kilometre course. The little Leszensky Park in the very centre of Podebrady. Podebrady, of course, has also hosted the World Racewalking Cup, as it was then known. Now it's also known as the World Racewalking Team Championships back in 1997. So already the field strung out around this park. Distance, it's quite difficult to tell the German and Ukraine kits apart. Get close up, yes, there are differences. Feige racing in black shorts, Ukrainians. Sobchuk up there in the middle of the pack. Much taller figure of Olyanovska out on the left hand side. Beretta leading the way at the front. Moutard just a little bit behind her, as you can see. Also right up there at this very early stage in the race. Zedziabla. No surprise to see Tristan Piotti up there as well. Somewhat slighter figure out on the right hand side of the racing pack, the left hand side of your screen. Just come around the final turn. They'll come up to the gantry, which is the start and finish point, and also the point for the penalty area. Hopefully we won't necessarily see much use of that. Okay, so big pack at the moment. 12 walkers all grouped together. 4:31. So good pace. 4:30 pace is 1 hour 30. early refreshments. It's getting quite warm out there in Podebrady. Started this morning, it was 17 degrees at around 8 in the morning, just after the 35-kilometre race got underway. About 22 degrees out there at the moment. So quite warm for race walking. 20 kilometres won't matter quite so much. They will certainly be taking on a lot of fluids during the course of the next 18.5 laps. So it's still Beretta pushing up the front. Group at the moment. Leading group of 13 walkers. Although it's started to scatter a little bit over the last half a kilometre. So Beretta out in front, Faze, Sobchuk, Olyanovska. They're the 4 women at the front as we look a little bit further back down the field. Well, this is possibly one race the Spanish won't dominate. Oh, there's the first warning we've seen for not keeping unbroken contact. Race walking aficionados will already know what I'm about to say, but you get 3 warnings from 3 different judges. They're actually red cards that go back to the chief judge rather than what we see as the paddles being shown. Then you end up spending 2 minutes at the 20-kilometre event in the penalty area, and then a 4th red card from a 4th judge means you're disqualified. Race walkers now getting used to the concept of the penalty area. I think took a little while after it was introduced a few years ago to be taken on board, but now I think everybody is much more comfortable with the idea. Certainly we've seen a lot less disqualifications, and certainly in the latter part of the race as the women go through the 2-kilometre point. 8:57. So just fractionally inside 1 hour 30 pace. 1:29.5 pace. And a clear group of 12 walkers up in front. Beretta, 9 national titles to her name, and one of those came when she won in Isle-of-Man back on the 12th of March, when she set a French record of 1:30.20. So at the moment on course for a French record. Still early stages in this race though. Beretta, 25 years of age, competes for the Vosges Athletics Club in France. Disappointing 17th. World Race Walking Team Championships last year, but bounced back to finish 6th. Best international performance ever at the European Athletics Championships in Munich. And she's racing well at the moment, towing along this large group of women. Saskia Feige, the German, in second place at the moment, who took a slightly surprising bronze medal in Munich. Continue to race really well. In addition to a bronze medal, the woman in second place at the moment also finished 15th at the World Championships last summer. Looking as though Feige has got a warning for unbroken contact. Race walkers have to keep continuous contact with the surface. Parmisano up there is coming across, looking as though she wants to take on some refreshment. Different viewpoints from the athletes, some going for refreshment early, others just ploughing straight on. On the left-hand side of the course, the right-hand side of your screen. Nice look back further down the field. Diablo looks as though she's struggling a little bit at the moment. A little bit of a surprise. Silver medalist from the World Championships last year at both 20 kilometres and 35 kilometres. Behind the Peruvian, Kimberly Garcia Leon. Took silver as well. She's drifting off the back of this leading pack at the moment. Just coming up to the 3 kilometre mark. Now Beretta. 4:31 first kilometre. 4:26 second kilometre. That looks as though it's a 4:29 kilometre for Beretta, but the pace is starting to take its toll already. Martinkova coming off the back as well at the moment, and that leading group, well, it's slimmed down quite considerably already. We've got some Australian guests in there. I've got to be honest and say they're not on my start list, not being considered as part of the results. So the lead pack is now down to 9. We have Beretta leading the way, Feige, Olyanovska and Sobchuk, the two Ukrainians together. Slight figure at the back of Anna Kabashina. And Tristan Piotti, as we'd expect to be up there, considering her performances this year. And Trapletti as well, finished 6th in the Europeans, Trapletti. Diablo struggling quite clearly, drifting off the back of the lead pack. So too Martinkova and Mutard, who finished in the top 10 of the Europeans last year. Martinkova doesn't look very comfortable at all. Crosses our line of sight in about 12th place. of the leading group, 9 women. One woman we didn't mention was Meryem Bekmez, former European under-18 champion in the red vest of Turkey. Turkey, of course, Istanbul, staged the European Indoor Championships earlier this year in March. Race walking no longer part of the indoor program. The focus of attention here very much outdoors and what's happening here in Podebrady. As we look down the field, there's Pauline Stay alongside Amar Juarez. As we move further up, so already about 20 odd seconds between the leading group and those women that you just saw just a moment ago further back down the field. Page. Page hails from Potsdam. So many of the top walkers do. Potsdam seems to be something of a focal point for race walking in Germany. A lot of the good coaches based there as well. Slightly slow lap that, 4:32 lap. Perhaps the heat starting to tell after that quite fast early pace. Leading group of 9 women, all going through in 17:58. As you can see there, Zediablo slipping back. Still Clemence Beretta leading the way. Really working hard is Beretta. 2 Ukrainians shadowing her, Olyanovska and Sobchuk. And some welcome shade at the moment. Doesn't last for very long though. That's another warning. That goes to Martin Kova. She's drifted back. She's now with Mutard and Juarez. Martin Kova. Still just 21 years of age. Who's the European under-20 10,000 metres racewalk silver medalist in 2021 when we were in Borås in Sweden. Went on to take bronze in the World Junior Championships, World Under-20 Championships as they're now called, in Nairobi a little bit later on that summer in 2021. Won the junior title at this event on home soil back in 2021. So the local crowd had big hopes for Martinkova, but doesn't look like it's her day. Not Beretta, interesting, she hasn't taken on much liquid in these early part of the race. She hasn't gone over to the refreshment tables. There's two tables there, one, as you can see, for personal drinks, and Warriors has gone over there to get some handed over by her coach or a team official. So the three women at the front, as it's been for much of the last couple of kilometres. Beretta of France, Feige of Germany, and was that Beckmez who got that warning? It's difficult to see in the shade there. Feige has a warning, not having a straightforward knee. Straightforward leg, I should say. Bent knee, as they like to say. So there's a very slight gap, but not one that will worry them too much, that's developed between Beretta Ulyanovska, Sobchuk and Feige at the front, and then just back to the chasing group of four women. Should be five. Beckmez should be on there as well. And then quite a gap back to the multiple silver medalist, Katarzyna Zedzieblo. There's a shot of Elena Giorgio at the moment. Elena Giorgio, former winner of this event. 50-kilometre title back in 2019 when it was introduced into this competition, and it was changed to 35 kilometres for the longer competition distance at the last edition. Some women already having been lapped, which means that they're about 4.5 minutes behind. The leaders went through 5 kilometres in 22:25. Good pace. Inside 1:30. 1:29.40 pace. I think it's really in this heat. Good racing from these women at the front. Well, this is the group of women who are a little bit further back down the field. It's Feige still forging ahead. Parmigiano. A much better race than she did in Madrid recently at these early stages of the race. Trapletti also up there for Italy. So Italy at the moment in quite a strong position as far as the team title is concerned. 2 women in the top 10. And they've got Giorgio down in the mid-teens at the moment. Toss-up between them and France. France have got Beretta right up at the front, and then a bit further back, Stay's been doing well, moved up to 12th place at the 5 kilometre mark. Muta still in there as well. So team standings at the moment, a real battle it seems developing between Italy and France for the gold medals in the team standings. Leading group of four, slight gap appearing between Beretta, Fage, Ulyanovska and Sobchuk. Then back to the group just behind them, led by Machina, Tristan Piotti. There's confirmation. They've gone through 6 kilometers, 26:53. Some cooling. Page looking very determined at the front there. Sobchuk. They visually look quite similar, the two Ukrainians. There's Bekmez drifting off the back. Now quite a noticeable gap appearing between Faze, Sobchuk, Ulyanovska and Beretta, and back to the 5 women that are chasing them. It's worth remembering we've still got 13 kilometers to race. Several national records this morning in the 35k event. I wonder whether conditions will make this a little bit less likely that we're going to see national records here. Just a reminder, 43 women, excluding the Australian guests, started this race from 17 different countries. And this is the team title in the immediate pass, include Italy. That's one of the Czech athletes. One of the Slovak athletes, I should say. team champions in the recent past. Well, 2 years ago in Podebrady, it was Italy, followed home by Germany and Ukraine. In 2 previous years, 2 previous editions, 2019, 2017, it was Spain that took team honours. Germany. Doesn't look like Spain are going to be on the podium this time around. Maybe they'll make it to the podium, but it doesn't look like they're going to get the gold medal as they've done in recent times. Diablo struggling, down in 10th place at the moment. Almost half a minute, more than half a minute behind the leaders. Now gone through 7 kilometers. Tall figure of Elena Sobchuk. Sobchuk, 27 years of age, was 4th in the 50-kilometer race walk in 2019 at the World Championships. Was dropped back down distance again. Decided that despite the success there, she didn't quite like it. 6th at the last edition of these European Race Walking Team Championships in Podebrady back in 2021. She's starting to really make an effort here, draw out the field. Marion Beckmez, former European under-18 champion, and detached from the leading group now, starting to slip back. She's still in 9th place. Elena Sobchuk at the front, with Ludmila Ulyanovska on her shoulder at the moment. Saskia Fay starting to drift back just a little bit. I'm just wondering, we all know the current situation in Ukraine. Ukraine athletes scattered across Europe. A lot of the Ukraine athletes have been training in Spain and Portugal, and I'm just wondering whether those training camps, albeit under rather forced circumstances, will have helped the walkers, as they'll have been used to a lot warmer conditions. At this time of year, we've been having a heat wave across southern Europe in places. Will have helped the Ukraine walkers in their preparations for this competition. Ulyanovska, 2nd place at the moment without the cap and shades, holds the Ukraine record at 1:27.09. Not quite operating at that sort of pace at the moment, but this is a pace that under other circumstances Ulyanovska will be used to. Come up, passing the 8-kilometer point. Behind them, Beretta and Saskia have drifted back to be joined by back to be joined by Nutricium Piotti and Cabecina. There you go, confirmation. Palmisano has quickly regained her composure after the problems that she's had. Looks as though she's getting back quite quickly to very good form indeed. We're not quite sure of her form. Bear in mind that, as I say, she had an injury-marred 2022 and to work at coming back from sciatic nerve surgery. However, Palmisano's class, this Olympic champion, can't be disputed. But it's the two Ukrainians, Sobchuk and Ulyankova, in the lead at the moment. Linovska, apologies for slightly mangling the leader's name. They went through 8 kilometers neck and neck, 35:47. So behind the two Ukrainians in the lead, there's a noticeable gap back then to the chasing group of 5, made up of Beretta, Palmisano, Cabecina, Nutricium Piotti and Fage. Chapeletti, the much taller of the Italian duo, among the leaders at the moment, having drifted back to 8th place. Not much in it at this stage though, just 3 seconds. And that can be covered pretty quickly at this sort of pace. That was a much quicker lap, 4:27 lap compared to some of the previous laps, so that injection of pace has splintered the leading group. Further back down the field. Local director just giving good coverage to the women in this competition. Of course, in the middle of that group, Eliska Martinkova. Just a reminder at the moment, it's a very close competition in the team standings between France and Italy. Just review it on monitor. Ukraine also doing very well at the moment, as you might not be surprised, with Olyanovska and Sobchuk in 1st and 2nd place at the moment. Nutricium Piotti leading the chasing group at this stage. The leaders went through 9 kilometers in 40:16. So that's a quicker lap altogether. 1:23 lap. See there, close up of the walkers taking on refreshments. Pirkkola of Finland, you saw that, going towards the rear of the field. Now, after those surges from the two Ukrainians, Sobchuk and Olyanovska, the leading pack has rejoined them. Kabasina, Feij, double European champion up there, Piotti. Palmasino up there as well. That's Trapletti, a bit further back, the second Italian at the moment. Drift off the back a bit. Still in 9th place though, the Turkish walker. Such a great pedigree in the age group categories. Also took European and world medals as an under-20 athlete. And now showing up front for the very first time, it's the double European champion, the 20 kilometer and 35 kilometer champion from last year in Munich. Vincenzo Piotti, well, 44:47. Not difficult to do the math. It's about 1:29.5 pace at the moment for the leading group. Do expect it to get quicker towards the closing stages of the race. Not going to see any records here, I don't think. So we probably will see some fantastic racing towards the end. No runaway winners like we saw in the 35 kilometer races earlier from Alvaro Mata and his world record setting compatriot Maria Perez. There we go. And Tristan Piotti leading the way, dwarfed by the two Ukrainians behind her. Now the Ukrainians, well, they didn't take on a lot of liquid and water in the early stage of the races, but now everybody's taking it on. It's about 23 degrees out there at the moment in the middle of Lenski Park. field. There's the lone Briton in the race. Warner. 25th place at the moment. Diablo just drifted further and further back down this race. Now a long way back. The leaders just overtaking Ziogo, Hungarian. Up for second time. Interesting, Biotti now starting to push the pace a little bit. A lot faster for them. The last couple of laps have been quickening. There's Cavacina. Interesting, Biotti. Picture that made the front pages, I'm sure, of a lot of Greek national papers. She won the 20 and 35 kilometre double in Munich last year. You can tell the difference between some of the guest runners. They don't have the purple background on their bibs. There's Trapletti, still walking very well. So they're passing through the 11 kilometre point. Interesting, Biotti now pulling away once again with the two Ukrainians, Ulyanovska and Sobchuk. (49.16) for the leading trio, and then Palmarzano, the Olympic champion, just a couple of seconds further back, still very much involved in it. Cavacina getting due recognition. Well, Cavacina, now 39 years of age, has a fantastic record. Always seems to be the bridesmaid. 4th at the World Championships in 2015, 5th back in 2011, 6th at both the Olympic Games in 2012 and 2016, and 6th as well at the World Championships at 2017 and 2013, all at 20 kilometres. Very near to getting on the podium on a few occasions at these European Racewalk Team Championships as well. So one disqualification so far. Simpiotti now really starting to push the pace. I'm feeling this to be a very quick lap. Do seem to have palpably speeded up. The 4:27 last lap. Certainly racing now inside the 4:30 laps. They haven't really pulled away and put much distance between themselves and the chasing group behind them of Cavacina, Feige and Beretta, Palmasano. A little bit further back is Tripletti. So 4 women chasing them, still very much in contention. Beretta, who showed during the early kilometres, now just starting to struggle a little bit. Beretta starting to slip back. So the leaders have separated into 2 groups of 3. About 3 seconds between them. Leading the way, it's Antigiani and Simpiotti, Greece's double reigning European champion, accompanied by Ludmila Polyanovska and Elena Sobchuk of Ukraine. Just behind them, Olympic champion Antonella Palmisano, Anna Cavacina and Saskia Feige. Twelve kilometres passed in 53:47. Really starting to boil up, if that's the right word, in these conditions, into a really exciting final 8 kilometres. Encouraging though to see Palmisano coming back to form. A few more months training under her belt, and I think she's going to be a real medal contender, taking on the likes of Garcia Leon and the Chinese walkers when we get to those World Championships in Budapest in August. Expect to have quite warm conditions there, I have to say, as well. And now the 2 groups are as good as joined up once again, and so 2 groups of 3 become 1 of 6. Look down the field. The 12-kilometre times up on the left-hand side of your screen. Cieblo, having gone through some very difficult times, is now moving up, back up to 7. Been a little bit of confusion. She does have her sister in a race, Anna, as well. That's Anna's not quite as strong as her. There's no confusion at all about who's leading the way at the moment, the two Ukrainians. Mila Olenowska indicating that she wants her drinks. Just a tap on the shoulder there, as you saw, to Elena Sobchuk. And the race is really on between this leading group of 6. This is Beretta in 7th place at the moment. Hungarian behind her. Not to worry about her. Part of the battle for the medals, Petra Zahovan. So Ukraine showing very well indeed, even though they're third athlete. Anna Shevchuk is drifted back a little bit. She's still back in 13th place at the moment. And I make it that Ukraine are in the lead in the team standings. Almasano. I remember watching her come to attention by winning the World Under-20 10-kilometer title in Chihuahua in Mexico, defying expectations there. That was a huge upset as an under-20 athlete, and she's just gone on from strength to strength ever since then. "13 kilometers undertaken, 7 to go, 58:18. So just over half an hour of walking still to go. And there they are, 6 abreast across the pathways of the Luzensky Park. You can see Ukraine flags out in support of the 2 walkers at the front. Certainly there's a lot of sympathy for their situation, given what's going on in their country at the moment. As the sun gets higher, shade is falling over large portions of this course, making it a little bit difficult to see what's going on up the front there. Some of the club runners and guest runners also very much involved in this race. You can see there, very well marshalled indeed. There's crossing points as well. So that was a 4:25 lap between 12 and 13 kilometers. My apologies, a 4:21 lap. My arithmetic a little bit awry. I did think it was a quick lap, so it proved. Well, that's the update on the yellow. Well, they're red cards in walking. You could say yellow cards though. And the yellow paddles that are shown. On the other Portuguese walkers, but about to get lapped. A bit wildly thrown, that bottle. It's almost caught the poor coach, I think. These 6 women still battling away at this stage as we're into the 14th kilometre. update on the 6 women in front. Olyanovska and Sobchuk of Ukraine. Chesumpioti of Greece. Cabecina of Portugal. Feige of Germany. And Palmisano in the blue vest of Italy. Costa down in the mid-20s at the moment, just about to get lapped the second time. I'll tell you, Beretta, French are having a difficult day with the technique. We saw earlier silver medal chances of Aurélien Quignon disappear when he had to serve a time penalty when he was in second place. And both Beretta and Moutard are now racking up the red cards. That's going to affect France's chances of getting on the podium. For the moment, Ukraine in the team standings. One of the Hungarians, I think it is, who's come to a halt. Stitch, I think, perhaps. So, Chesumpioti in the lead, along with Sobchuk. If you think the Italian and the Greek vests are very similar, and they're both wearing blue shorts as well, just keep an eye on the right-hand side of Palmisano's head. She's wearing a flower in her hair, as she does so often. Fairly similar in stature. There you can see, nice clear shot there. Palmisano, not quite sure what type of flower it is, but it's definitely a flower. There's Elena Sobchuk. Takes them through 14 kilometers. 1:02:52. About 14 kilometers for the leading group. Still nothing in it as far as this leading group of 6 are concerned. But it does look as though it's Chesumpioti who is really starting to push the pace. Sobchuk as well has done a really good job at the front here. Sobchuk 9th at the European Championships last year. Credentials though, 20 kilometers as well as 50 kilometers. He was 11th at the World Championships. Intrinsically, I think, a better effort, better performance than her 9th at the Europeans. Maybe still feeling the effects a little bit. At the last European race walking team championship, she was 6th. Elena Sobchuk has really been one of the driving forces of this leading group, surged on a couple of occasions, And it's looking as though last year's European bronze medalist Saskia Feij of Germany now starting to struggle a little bit, get detached from that leading group of 5. Sobchuk, I think it is, who's also struggling at the front. I do apologise. Olyanovska and Sobchuk slightly mixed up. Sobchuk's though still hanging on very well. It's Saskia Feij who's struggling just a little bit as they go through the three-quarter points, 15 kilometres in 1:07:23. Leading group of Palmisano, Oleniasov, Cavacina, Intrusim Piotti, Feij, and then Beretta just slipping back after featuring in the leading group for so much of the race. So still operating just inside 1:30 pace. Warm conditions taking their toll a little bit on the times. This is actually turning into a really thrilling race at the front. Medals to be decided both in the individual and the team competitions. There's Beretta, currently in 7th place. It's looking as though Sobchuk is getting dropped off the back as well. So with less than 5 kilometers to go, it's down to a leading pack of 4. Palmisano, the Olympic champion. Olyanovska. Former world and European medalist. Cavacina, so often so close to the podium. Will this be her year? And the double European champion, Intrusim Piotti. Some of the back markers, just taking on board some fluid. Cavacina deciding not to take on anything. Did Cavacina miss a drink there? She's got some water. There seemed to be a little display of frustration there from Cavacina, the Portuguese walker in the familiar green and red attire. She's draped now, some kind of scarf, maybe it's a ice pack around her neck. Olyanovska leading the way at the front. There's Saskia Feij, 3rd at the European Championships last August, but she's out of medal contention now. Drifting back, she's a rather distant 6th at the moment. Olyanovska. Then the 2 blue-vested athletes. Intrusim Piotti of Greece and Palmisano of Italy. This is really a great return to form from Palmisano. Sobchuk, tall Ukrainian, as you can see, just looking down the road with the sunglasses and sun hat, in 5th at the moment. And then Feij in 6th. So they've gone through 16 kilometers now in 1:11:52. There's the top six. Still 4 women very much in contention for 3 individual medals. Certainly Ukraine at the moment looking good for team gold with 2 women in the top 5. Looking a bit further back down the field. Third Ukrainian, Hannes Shevchuk has gone backwards. Now in the mid-teens. Actually still very much in contention as well for team medals, possibly team gold. There's Martinkova. Former European and World Under-20 medalist. See who that is. Bekmez. Miriam Bekmez having to serve a 2-minute time penalty for 3 red cards in the judges' hands. Now from her early showing, she slipped back to about 10th place. It's going to take her back a little bit further. Piotti has to push forward once again. We're in the 17th kilometre. It's a 1:29 last kilometre, so they're pretty consistent. I should say 4:29. So they're pretty consistent, lapping at just inside 4:30. Oscar and Tristan Piotti looking as though they're trying to surge. And Tristan Piotti, just remember, she's the European leader this year. 1:28.12 recently. Parmesano now starting to work very hard, trying to get back up with the leading pair. Starting to just a little bit, all things are relative. Tristan Piotti set her national record of 1:28.12. Said she was the European leader. Oh, well, that was slightly a prophecy foretold. Saskia Page had been carrying 2 yellow cards for a lot of the race. 2 red cards in the judges' hands became a 3rd. So Page able to, doesn't have to adhere to walking technique when she's in the penalty area. walk around, stand still. Is able to take on board fluid, but has to stay there for 2 minutes. Now she's really starting to motor. The double European champion, Antigone and Piotti. Pushing hard. I'm saying that she set a national record of 1:28.12 when she went down under in February and went to the Australian National Championships. There's Palmisano though now pushing to try and get back up on the shoulder. The Olympic champion. This is very encouraging from Palmisano. Of course, two-time previous champion, including the defending champion at these European Racewalking Team Championships. She knows her way around this Leszensky Park very well. Oljanovska now drifting back to third place. Cabasina, can she reel her in? Page rejoins the race after being in the penalty area for 2 minutes. And Biotti, fastest woman on season's best in this field. Out of the Europeans, only Maria Perez has walked faster than her over 20 kilometers this year. Perez, of course, setting that fantastic world record earlier this morning. Just wonder how much coverage the 4 national sports dailies in Spain will give to Perez's world record. Of course, this time of year is dominated usually by football, with the Spanish league title decided. Perez deserves a place on the front pages of the likes of Marca, AS and El Mundo Deportivo. So 17 kilometers past. Piotti, 1:16.15. Palmisano closing in on her. Palmisano just had that very lackluster 10-kilometer outing at a World Race Walking Tour event in Madrid, over 10 kilometers up and down the Gran Via in the capital of Spain. Just 3 weeks ago. Looked in dreadful shape and now has really come back to form though. Missed the entire 2022 season with sciatic nerve problems and other injuries. The last 20k race, well, would you believe it, missing 2022, the Olympic Games, which she won in Tokyo. So, 2 laps remaining. European champion Antigone and Piotti, and the Olympic champion Antonella Palmisano, shoulder to shoulder with 2 laps to go, 2 kilometers to go in this European Racewalking Team Championships Women's 20k. As you can see from your leaderboard in the lower right hand side of your corner, Ludmila Oljanovska now 7 seconds in arrears. She's got Cabasina on her tail as well. This race is not over for any of the medals. Absolutely neck and neck between these two women. There's little to choose between them. That includes the stature and the athletic kit that they're wearing, even though they're from Italy and Greece. Almost exactly the same shade of blue, but you can tell the Greek and Italian national flags. And as I said, Palmisano wearing a flower in her hair. Just wonder whether she's going to get garlanded with flowers if she makes it to the medal podium. Looking as though she will be on the podium, but in what place we have to wait and see, because it's Antigone and Tristan Piotti who is leading the way for Greece at the moment. Tristan Piotti, who was fourth, missing out on the medal, was over 35k last summer at the World Championships in Eugene. He's a late starter in the sport. Didn't really feature the first major championship. Very much now 39 years of age. Came only a decade ago. Came through. Good break. She some performances as a junior, and then all sorts of different reasons, including family business reasons. She helps out in the family restaurant. She gave up race walking and then came back to it again in her late 20s, and with some success. At 39 years of age, setting a national record of 1:28.12 in Melbourne back in February. Here's Cavacina. Well, she's now got herself up into third place. Could this be Cavacina's first major championship podium position? She's been so often so close to making the podium. For the women in front of her, and Tristan Piotti and Palmisano know what it's like to be on the podium. They've stood on the very top rung. Now, a lot of... And Tristan Piotti has surged as she comes into the last lap. In just the space of a few hundred meters, she's put a lot of space between herself and Palmisano. So the last lap beckons. 1 kilometre remaining, one circuit of the Lozensky Park in Podebrady for Antigone and Tristan Piotti. She's put 4 seconds between herself and Antonella Palmisano, the Olympic champion. Nevertheless, Palmisano, after a horrendous 2022 with injury problems, I think she can take a lot of pride in this race if indeed it does turn out to be the 1-2 we're looking at the moment. Anna Cavacina's moved up into third place, and a wonderful bronze medal beckons for Cavacina. Cavacina, now 39 years of age as well. So 2 39-year-olds to be on the podium, potentially. Janowska slipping back. I'm wondering what effect that's going to have on the team standings. Cavacina in third. Janowska now drifting back almost with every pace. Well, by my reckoning, Ukraine are just in front of Italy. France distant third. Ukraine can't afford to slip back much further. A lot will depend on how well the women, who we haven't seen much of, the third-placed athletes for both Italy and Ukraine, do in the closing stages of this race. But it is at the front, the Greek double European champion, Antigone and Tristan Piotti. Went through 19 kilometres in 1:24:55. She'll be inside 1:30. Of course, for a time around 1:29.5. But times don't matter on a day like this. And Tristan Piotti allowed to the Greek gold reserves after her wins in Munich last year over both 20 and 35 kilometres. So, and a minute and a half of walking remaining. She's into the final few hundred metres of this race. Still looking at her watch. Doesn't need to. Times are not going to be important today. Parmesano pouring it all on, trying to reduce the deficit. She was 4 seconds down going into that last lap. Cavacina still in medal contention. She's just overtaking Sobchuk on her inside, who featured for so many. That's the third Ukrainian, I think. Sobchuk's a bit further back, but dressed in very similar fashion. As we have so often when Greek competitors come home in front, we've got a bit of bouzouki music, haven't we? Perhaps just a little bit early to start celebrating. Parmesano is really trying to close her down, but there's only about 100 metres to go. No time to grab a Greek flag. Parmesano did get the Italian one though, and it's Antigone and Tristan Piotti who takes the 2023 Women's 20K at the European Race Walking Team Championships. Antonella Parmesano second for Italy, and an absolutely delighted Anna Cavacina finally makes it to a major championship medal podium in her own right. She's won medals with the Portuguese team, but Cavacina now stands on the individual dais. Olejnowska, after featuring at the front for so much of the race, comes through for fourth place. But Ukraine still in pole position in the team standings. A lot's going to depend on what happens behind Olejnowska. As it's very tight between the Ukrainians and the Italians, I can tell you, going into that last lap. You can follow all the results on the European Athletics website, www.european-athletics.com. Live results there, and they'll be up there for some time to come as well. And of course, you can follow what's been going on. Very soon we'll have race reports if you are watching this and want to recap what happened. And we've got lots of content on all the social media channels as well. So Elena Sobchuk makes it 2 Ukrainians in the top 5. A lot will depend on where that woman wearing the gold and blue vest comes in. Anna Shevchuk was in 15th place going into the last lap. So, Simon Sporetta. And a great effort there from the Spaniard, who's come through very strongly in the last couple of kilometres. We didn't see very much of her at all. Antia Tremosa. Tremosa has really come through the field over the course of the last couple of kilometres. Beretta taking on some much needed refreshment. It is warm out there. Here's Triplete, the second Italian home. So now 2 Italians. At the moment, Ukraine has 9 points, Italy 10, and France 16. So it all depends now on the third place Walker. So Pauline Stay comes through. Personal best for Stay, as it was for Chimosa. I had a feeling it was. I've just seen it confirmed on my monitor now. Stay 1:32.21 for a personal best for the French woman. Page finishing 10th. And Mihai. That makes it 21 points for Italy. Liska Martinkova coming home with Juarez crossing for Spain in 13th place. Unofficially, the team title will go to Italy, and I think they have a lot to thank Alexandrina Mihai in 11th place, because she's come through and had the race of her life. 1:32.55. Parmesano did so well coming back from injury to finish second, and then we had Trapleti in 8th place, just outside her personal best. But Mihai, personal best. Once again, another athlete who's come through the field in the last couple of kilometres. And I think that means that the team title goes to Italy. Zedziebo, who we're expecting so much of, finishing 14th. With Elena, I would say Hannah Shevchuk finishing 16th. I think Ukraine will take second place in the team standings. We'll bring you confirmation of all those results very shortly. How the team standings unfold. I think it is Italy in gold, Ukraine in silver. We'll see who gets it for bronze as we look at a replay of Antigone and Tristan Piotti taking the gold medal at the 2023 European Race Walking Team Championships. She was followed home by Antonella Palmisano of Italy. So the European champion beating the reigning Olympic champion. There's a few of the back markers still to come home. See that wonderful close look of Palmisano's flower that she traditionally wears in her hair. Used to go for a real one, but I think that's more of an artificial variety. I can confirm, just looking back through the results, that France indeed do take the bronze medals in the team competition, following Italy, Ukraine, just beating out Spain. Now I've got confirmation on my monitor of the results. Italy 21 points, with Palmisano, Traplete and Mihai, their scoring trio. Ukraine 25 points. France 37 points, just beating out Spain, who finished with 40 points, coming home very strongly, but just missing out on a team medal after taking 4 golds, both individual and team titles, earlier this morning in the 35-kilometre races. Unravelling the race. Well, Antonella Palmisano, 2 times winner at these European Race Walking Team Championships in 2017, 2019, just missing out on this occasion. As we look at Anna Cabasina coming home in 3rd place, absolutely delighted, 39 years of age, and as I said, missing out so often by so little from making the podium. Now she'll stand on the podium very shortly and get a bronze medal. Palmisano following home Antigoni and Trisimpiotti. Well, we're going to take a break from commentary now for about 45 minutes ahead of the men's 20 kilometres, which comes up at 14:10 Central European time. You can work out what time that is if you're out of Central Europe. It's 13:10 Great Britain, Northern Ireland and the Canary Islands. Elsewhere in the world, if you're joining us, check out, it's 2 hours ahead of GMT. 3 hours ahead of GMT, I think. Anyway, work it out for yourselves, but please do join us again for commentary in 45 minutes. In the meantime, we have all the medal ceremonies from this morning. The men's and women's 35 kilometres, both team and individual races, will be standing on the podium very shortly, and the live stream will continue. See you shortly.